Hello and welcome. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to the very first episode of From Christal with Love. I am your host, Christal Jordan, and for the past 5 years, I have been a relationship editor for one of the largest urban publications in the country. That means that my job was talking to reality stars, celebrities, and even relationship experts all about love, dating, cheating, marriage, divorce, and all the things that we love to talk about from other people's relationships. It taught me two things. The first thing is we all are dealing with some type of drama in our relationships. Number two, we all love to see what other people are going through because I think it makes us feel better about our own situations. So, with that being said, I'm your host for a weekly intervention. We're going to talk about what happens on your favorite reality stars. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and of course the ugly on all of today's hottest reality TV shows dealing with love, marriage, or dating. So let's get started. With that being said, we're going to start with one of the most popular shows that's on television today, Lifetime's Married at First Sight. So if you've been watching Married at First Sight this season, you know the show is dealing with one of the most incredible situations ever known to the show. Not only do you have a bride and a groom that are just meeting for the first time to get married, which happens every season, but this season, the groom has a former fiance who is claiming she's pregnant. Chris, Paige, and the pregnant ex-fiance Mercedes all appeared on Married at First Sight last week.
And you're beautiful, by the way.
You are too.
Yeah, so I do appreciate you coming and talking to me. I'm at peace with the whole situation.
It's a tough situation for everyone, so I'm glad that you're in a good headspace.
Yeah.
You quiet? You have anything to say?
I'm irritated.
He's probably not good, but whatever.
I'm irritated, but God is good.
Oh, God. You're always irritated, Chris. Always irritated.
And he has nothing to say.
Did you guys see that? First of all, Chris wasn't saying anything. He's sitting there on the side. Paige and Mercedes are having the entire conversation discussing a child that has nothing to do with Paige. Chris is totally absent from the conversation. Another reason that I feel like he's not fit to be a groom, especially not with Paige at this time. Now, sources tell me that Mercedes actually experienced a miscarriage. If that's true, our heartfelt sympathies go out to both Mercedes and Chris, as both parties are going to experience loss and heartbreak after losing a child. However, that does not take away from the fact that Chris is totally not prepared to be on this show. Hopefully, Paige will stick to her guns, as she just said, because that relationship does not serve her. But only time will tell, and we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks if she's able to stick to her guns or if she slides back in to Chris's. He's not even really convincing. I think she just is really sold out on the idea of marriage. But hopefully, Paige will learn from this and stick up for herself more. Mercedes will move on. Chris will get a clue. And hopefully the experts will figure out how to keep liars like Chris off of Married at First Sight, because the viewers are definitely not feeling that. On to our second situation. Okay, now we're on to Love and Marriage Huntsville. If you haven't seen this show, you are missing out on a great relationship drama show. You see marriage, you see divorce, you see infidelity, all with urban professionals that are trying to keep it together with families, career, all the things that all of us are doing. Another one of my favorite shows because I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of the cast. Now, in this situation, which has been going on since the first season, we're in the third season right now, Melody Holt and her husband, Martell Holt, are dealing with his infidelity. Like I said, his infidelity showed up in the first season. We're in the third season, and the infidelity has gotten us to the point where Melody has decided she's finished. I really like this clip because I think that divorce is an unavoidable issue today, right? We're going to have marriage, we're going to have divorce, but divorce should only happen when you've done all you can, and you know it's time to say goodbye.
I definitely feel like I gave my marriage all. Like, I'm not gonna have no what ifs, because I know what I did. At the end of the day, I feel like I had to choose life or death, and I chose life. I chose to save myself before I drowned into this dark space that could have become permanent for me. I feel like I can't deal with going in the cycle of the BS, that it's become a norm for you, and I just refuse for it to be a norm for me. That ain't happiness. That's not how life is supposed to be. I ain't doing it, and that's where I was. I was like, you can stay over here and be up all in this BS if you want to, but I'm not going to.
Right.
And me being connected to you, because I'm married to you, it keeps me in the spiral, the downward spiral.
Right.
And I was like, no more.
You know, I've been through a divorce. At the end of the day, as women, we want to know that we did every single thing we could within our power to save our marriage. So if it comes to this, where you're at right now, you can walk away knowing I did all.
Okay, so you guys see what I'm saying? Melody did everything she absolutely could do. Now, what I've heard is that Martell's affair has gone on for 5 years. And we know from the show that there is now a baby that has come from that affair. Totally unacceptable. But what I loved about this is that Melody not only displays strength and has been able to really encourage and, you know, be a role model for other women that are going through the same situation. But she said, as you saw when she's talking to her mother, she did every single thing she could to save her marriage. So she has absolutely no regrets. Again, divorce is not something that we ever want to think about, but it's just a fact of life. So before you go into that, I think it's very wise to know that you've done all you can. You've done everything within your power to abide by the vows of your marriage. But once that's over, it's time to pick yourself up, get yourself together, and move on. Kudos to Melody for doing such a great job with it under such huge public scrutiny and being able, like I said, to inspire others. We wish her well. Okay, so next up, Real Housewives of Atlanta. All right, so we're all excited. Cynthia's getting married. This time, it looks like real love. I actually like Cynthia and Mike together. So the girls, Kenya and Candy, decide to get together and throw Cynthia a bachelorette party. Now, what would seem like a great idea, like friends hanging out, having a good time celebrating, goes terribly wrong and ends up creating the biggest drama on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Check out this clip of what happens when a stripper named Bolo greets the ladies and gives Cynthia a bigger bachelorette gift than she intended to see.
My number one and my side chick.
So, Mistress.
Yes.
Bolo said he would come back out with you guys.
All right, ladies, put your masks back on.
Yeah, bring them out, bring them out.
And then hopefully we can get you guys to turn off the cameras for a little while so we can actually have fun.
Yes.
No, we can't really have fun. There's cameras everywhere. I don't give a about those cameras.
Y'all cut?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Hey, we're gonna D-Mike.
Yes.
Okay, so my thing is this. Let me know if you guys can feel me. You know that you're taping for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, on the show, Candy is married to Todd, which we're going to exclude Candy because we know that Todd is okay with her dealing with strippers. If you guys remember from an earlier season, Candy brought a stripper for, I think it was Phaedra's party. I think his name was like Scandalicious or Delicious or something like that. But he had the same equipment as Bolo. So Candy has a reserve of these well-endowed strippers. We may need to holler at her later. But back to the show. So Drew is awesome. Drew Sidor is married. And her marriage is obviously in turmoil because we see them going to therapy. And that's a problem. LaToya, we don't know what her situation is. Separated from a husband or not quite sure. And Portia says she's single, but we really haven't seen the disillusion of her engagement to her ex. So again, roll with me if you guys can. You see cameras. You know that you're taping for Bravo. Why would you ever interact with a stripper with the cameras? I had a chance to sit down with Cynthia and I asked her, why would this happen with cameras on? And she said that sometimes you forget what's going on in the moment. I don't know, ladies. But what I wonder is, who thinks it's disrespectful if you're married to be seen on camera with a stripper? Now, I know that Drew's marriage has been going through some ups and downs, so I can't say if it's right or wrong for her to do that. What I can say is that for any bachelorette party moving forward, ladies, or any bachelor parties moving forward, cameras are not allowed. You guys feel me? No cameras allowed. Okay, now it's time for one of my favorite segments. It is time for dating question of the week. Okay, today's question says, Dear Christal, I've been dating a new guy for 3 weeks and he is already saying he loves me. Is 3 weeks too soon to be in love? Signed, Confused. Okay, first of all, I don't think there's any time period. There's not a time period on love, right? Love doesn't come with a certain amount of hours, a certain amount of incidents or dates or time spent. But I do think that love and action should always line up. Now, I'm not sure if 3 weeks is enough time for you to see if this guy's actions line up with his words. But what I do know is if he really is in love with you, eventually his actions will line up with his words and you will feel it. So give it a chance. You never know. But I do know that there's no one in this world that can tell you in a definite time that it takes for a person to fall in love. Okay? All right. So if you have questions, I love to hear your questions. We love to hear your comments. Make sure that you email us at fromchristal, that's fromchristalxo @gmail.com. fromchristalxo@gmail.com. Okay, it's relationship rhetoric time. That means the part of the show where we actually listen to a popular relationship expert and we decide if we're feeling their advice or not, right? So the first show, I would have definitely been remiss if I didn't have my man Kevin Samuels on. Kevin Samuels has the internet on fire with his harsh relationship advice for ladies. Now, Kevin has relationship advice for women looking for a high value man. When I say high value man, we're referring to men that are earning over 6 figures or more per year. Now, that's not my definition of a high value man, but that's the definition that we're working with for this clip. According to Kevin Samuels, there's a certain formula a woman needs in order to attract so-called high value man. That formula consists of the proper age, the proper height, the proper amount of children, and the proper age. Listen to what happens when a woman calls in that doesn't fit any of those criteria and she claims that she knows she can still qualify for a high value man.
Now, listen, I'm not trying to, no one can see your picture. But see, what I need you to do is turn down the diva energy because it's not helping you.
Now you're trying to say I have diva energy?
Yes.
Oh,
because
wow.
you got this energy like, well, you're mean and you're this and that. I'm like, well, you're the one that called in and said, hey, I'm having problems attracting non-weak men.
Correct.
And I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm like, well, you attract what you are. Ooh. So do I. We all attract what we are. So, ma'am, listen and turn down the diva energy. At 5'4", 180 pounds, you weigh more than a man at your height. The average American male is 5'10" and 168 pounds. 5'4", 180 pounds. Seriously, ma'am, if we height weight adjusted you, you will be the size of an offensive or defensive lineman. Regardless as to how big your boobs are.
Okay. Kevin is hilarious. I can't lie. Anyone listening to that clip is going to laugh. Ma'am, you weigh more than a man. Horrible, horrible, but it's funny. It's entertaining, which is why people love Kevin Samuels. But numbers have nothing to do with love. So I think Kevin Samuels is a necessary evil. His content is driven towards women who are basically reducing men's value to the amount of money they make. So those same women cannot get upset when Kevin reduces them to their age, height, and weight in relation to their value. No one's value is really related to numbers. When you bring numbers into the equation, you are creating a transaction. And love is not a transaction. It's something that happens based on a feeling. So I don't agree with Kevin Samuels. However, I also don't agree with women like Cardi B that say broke men don't deserve. Well, that may be a whole nother situation, but I don't think money equates love. And I don't think height, weight, and age equates love. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so now to the wrap up for the week. Married at First Sight. You guys make sure you check out this show. It is so amazing. I predict that Paige is going to get hurt. Paige is going to take Chris back and she's going to go through getting hurt again. And we're going to see her at the end finally come back to herself. But I predict that she's definitely going to go back and give Chris another chance. Do I want that to happen? No, but I really think it's inevitable, right? And I can't blame her because she's one of those girls like myself that thinks love is forever, right? So hopefully we're going to be sending good vibes to you, Paige, but I think she's going to get hurt. All right. Moving into Love and Marriage Huntsville, I predict that Melody Holt will come through this like a champ, like she already is. Martell is going to be bitter for a very long time because he lost the love of his life. He does have a new baby on the way, and we'll have to definitely check in and see how that plays out. But I think the person that didn't give their marriage their all always feels guilt for long after the marriage is over. So I predict that Martell is going to have a really hard time with his divorce. And lastly, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Drew, we are rooting for you. We're hoping your marriage is okay. But the fact that you assumed your husband would not have a problem with you twerking on the stripper suggests that you guys may have a few more therapy sessions to go through before you guys get to a good place. I hope that Portia finds love again. We're not really sure what happened with her and Dennis, but we do know she's not happy. And LaToya, I don't know. We'll just have to see. Today's clip du jour, or clip of the day, is really because of the Kevin Samuels clip. We can't play something that toxic and not come back with something equally positive. So I want you guys to remember that although we're talking about love, the most important relationship, the most important loving relationship you will ever have is the one that you have with yourself. To illustrate that more eloquently is the beautiful and quite brilliant Lizzo.
I have to get like a king bed because I'm so obese, and then I put on my obese Louis Vuitton house slippers and I walk into my massive obese bathroom and I just stare into my wall-to-wall obese mirror and I just lather myself in the most obese, expensive oils and creams, and oh God, I walk into my obese, gorgeous, mid-century modern kitchen, and by the time I've made it to my kitchen, I've already made another obese $1 million. My bank account is so fat. Oh, God. My bank account is so obese, and like, I tried to put it on a diet. She's just so stubborn, like, she won't listen. But you know, it's fine.
You gotta love that. So that clip happened after one of Lizzo's trollers suggested that she must be really unhappy with herself because she's obese. As you see, Lizzo set them straight. But I want to suggest to anyone who's not exactly where they want to be, I myself have put on some COVID pounds, but as Lizzo showed, we have to learn to love ourselves as we are in the space that we're in right then. That's the only way that you can move forward and still be in a loving place. And it's really the only way that you can be open for others to love you back. So kudos to Lizzo and kudos to all the rest of you out there learning to love yourself more. Okay? That brings me to the soundtrack for this week's love story. Once again, we have to give a shout out to Melody Holt. Now, Not only did Melody take her situation and is bossed up, doing her business, got her kids with her, but she also got in the studio and started laying some tracks. It looks like the divorce forced Melody to come more into herself and to figure out those things that she had let go being Martell's wife, and now she's rediscovering those. I want you guys to check out her new single, Telltale Signs. It's available on all platforms March 20th. That means you can go and download it, sow a little seed into that sister's life, and listen to what she did as a positive way of turning her lemons into lemonades. Kudos to Melody, and we'll definitely be listening to Telltale Signs. All right, so thank you guys for hanging out with me. This was the very, very first episode of From Christal with Love. I'm so excited to begin this journey. Every week, right here, we're going to be talking about your favorite relationships, favorite reality shows, anything that has to do with love, dating, cheating, marriage, all that right here. But most of all, for me, the staff here at From Christal with Love, our sponsor for today, which is Hourglass Couture, we want to remind you all that love is the most important thing of all. Our quote today actually comes from the Bible, and it says, "If I have faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing." Until next time, I'm your host, Christal, wishing you much love.